But let's get to the most prominent line that got the whole internet in a tizzy. When Megan gets to the line, these hoes don't be mad at Megan. These hoes mad at Megan's law. Okay. That one really fucked up a lot of people. And people immediately thought that this song, or I'm sorry, that this verse had to be directed at Nicki Minaj. Why, you might ask? Is because her husband, Kenneth Petty, and this is not like this actually happened. This is not allegedly. Kenneth Petty was he was on trial and he was they said that he was accused of trying or raping a young girl. um at the end of it, what he did was plead guilty to attempted rape, and so he spent like 4 years behind bars. So that's just one person in Nicki Minaj's life who is connected to this law or sexual assault allegations. The other person in Nicki's life has to be her brother, who got convicted for sexually assaulting his stepdaughter, who was, I believe, around 11 years old. And he's doing something like 25 years to life. So when the line, these hoes don't be mad at Megan, these hoes mad at Megan's law, that, I feel like it's kind of safe to assume that that one was for Nicki Minaj. Now, Eric, Marcus, what do you guys think? Do you think that that one was shots fired for Nicki specifically?
Hell yeah. And he got that girl pregnant.
Did he? I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah,
That's crazy.
that girl got pregnant off of that rape. So, like, I
That's crazy.
mean, man, look. First of all, let's just go. Sexual assault, and victimizing children of any level are like two of the most reprehensible things that can never be defended. Like you can literally kill someone and say, you know what, I was a different person. That wasn't me.
Hmm.
I never should have took that man's life. You know, I hope his family can one day forgive me and move on. I've tried to make amends, and that was for a murder. And the pathway to uh, I don't even know if redemption is the right word, but the pathway to acceptance between that murderer and that family or the person of the deceased family, there is a therapeutic pathway of accept that you can get to a level of acceptance to, like, you know what, John killed Ken, but he's been so remorseful. We have forgiven him for taking him away from us, right? You see
Hmm.
the story, it's an admirable story, it's this.
Hmm.
You cannot tell that same story about someone raping someone, a child at that, and I was a different person and I made amends and I don't like that. That just does not happen.
Right.
That that
Yeah, I
that
totally
that
agree.
that does like that just does not get the level of care, of empathy, of anything when you say, I've raped a child or I've raped a woman and I've done this sport. Like, that just does not.
Yeah,
There's a reason
exactly.
that ad set protective custody, that they, when they go to jail, that they're not in general population. There's a
Right.
reason for that. Because
Yeah.
so what he was accused, and the fact that Nicki has two of these people, two.
Right.
Yeah, it looks
That's
crazy.
the thing.
It
It
looks
does look
crazy.
crazy. And I feel like Marcus, I can't with you right now. But it looks crazy, but also the fact that it's clear that she is really willing to defend both of them. You know what I mean? She's never defended those actions, but it's like no matter what, like she never has come out and said much about, I condemn these things happening to people, or, you know what I mean? Or saying that she sympathizes with the victims. If anything, she has proven what side she stands on by, at least when it comes to her brother, she paid, supposedly, what they're saying is that she paid for all of his defense. like his attorney fees, court fees, all that stuff. And then which is somewhat understandable because it's your brother, but at the same time, with an act like that, especially like what you said, Marcus, I didn't even realize that this poor child got pregnant off of that. Like, I don't understand how she brought herself to still pay for the legal fees, but
She
none of
had
my
to.
business.
She had to. I
Uh,
mean, you had to at that point because he wasn't guilty and you didn't know. He could be telling you, I swear on my life, sis, or whatever, I didn't do this or whatever. Like
yes.
I don't have a problem with her paying for the defense. Like
Okay.
that don't that's family. You got to accept what they gave him, but I don't have a problem with it. Wasn't no
Okay.
Trump
That's
defense.
fair.
Like they wasn't trying to silence witness and have NDAs and pay them off and do all of that. So no, I don't.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that because you're right. So maybe in this case, when it comes to her brother, that wasn't the case. However, the victim for her husband's victim, supposed victim for
Mhm.
what they said was an attempted rape, that's what it got reduced to. Um, that woman actually went on talk shows a couple years ago and said that Nicki actually did reach out to her and threatened her and said because she had gone on different talk shows and so she had another one lined up and Nicki
Mhm.
had called her supposedly and first it was on some like I guess at first it was just on some like hey like let it die kind of a thing like let it be and oh girl was like nah I'm not going to be silenced. I guess she never wanted the charge to be dropped down to attempted rape. I think that she had really advocated for it to be him to get fully charged. So I guess that this was her way of feeling like she was finally getting her story out and getting some type of justice. And then once she told Nicki no, she says that Nicki then threatened her life and said that like, okay, like, you can go ahead and do that, but there'll be consequences basically. Now, we don't know if this conversation really happened. The only reason that I think that it did is that there is a line in Red Ruby to Sleeves where she says, and you didn't know that my niggas kill witnesses. Like shit like that makes you look at somebody kind of sideways and be like, was that meant for that young lady? Eric, what
I
do you
remember
think?
when we were talking about that song and we were talking about how like greasy Nicki was talking, and not even just
Mm-hmm.
on that record, but like on a couple records on the album. It's like Nicki is like talking way more street, way more aggressive on some of these records. She's like letting you know that she has people behind her. So it was like we were getting a glimpse into that where as previous to that, like on past albums, we weren't getting that type of energy from Nicki. But now things are like we see what type of time she's been on lately. So
Yeah, and I think it's because she now feels like she has some muscle behind her. Like before, I think that she felt really, really played when Cardi B, um, basically, called her bluff at that one. I think it was like a Met Gala party or a Vogue party. It was some type of party where there's like a video that of Nicki Minaj hiding between behind a team of security guards and Cardi's throwing shoes and all types of things trying to fight this woman. So I think that it was really shocking, a big shock for Nicki, especially after so many years of being able to be a rapper, being able to pop her shit, say whatever she wanted. And then it was like, and nothing happening. And then all of a sudden having someone like Cardi, who at the time was not nearly as concerned about keeping her career and keeping the calm so that she could still have a certain image and all that kind of stuff. Like she wasn't worried about that shit. Like Cardi was like, I'm still from the fucking Bronx, bitch. Like I will take off my shoes and throw it at your forehead. And that's exactly what she attempted to do. So I felt like that situation made Nicki made Nicki feel like, you know what? I'm never going to get punked again because I'm now going to have muscle behind me. And so she got with her mans, you know what I mean?